Welcome back, everyone, to the Bears Private Plays YouTube channel. Today is Monday, September 2nd. Happy Labor Day. And we're back breaking down another standalone game on Monday between Florida State and Boston College. Florida State, they got hit in the mouth in week 0 going up against Georgia Tech. We're going to see if they can bounce back here going up against Boston College. Only the one play today, one player prop as well. Hope everybody enjoys their Monday, and let's break down some bowl. All right, guys, let's take a look at the leaderboard just really quick. I did have a wedding tonight, so I didn't get to watch the first half of the LSU and USC game, but I did catch the second half. Both teams are going to be good, I think. USC, second half, Miller Moss, he kind of took over that game. 378 passing yards, only the one touchdown. USC had a lot of opportunities in the red zone, kind of had a couple bad plays here and there, a couple penalties. LSU, I think LSU is going to be a really good team this season. Both defenses looked much improved. USC, whenever they needed it, they got the drive, went down and scored a touchdown against LSU. Thought maybe we get some overtime to get that over a chance, but it did not hit. 64.5. Only 47 points scored in the game, so 0-1 of the game picks, and then Miller Moss over 2.5 touchdowns, 0-1 there as well as a player prop. But was a really good game in the second half that I got to watch. I felt like maybe both teams were kind of like, I don't know. I just felt like the offenses, they were clicking, but they weren't scoring. I felt like they were kind of holding back a little bit, but we'll see what happens. I think that's two really good teams there, so I think LSU got nothing to worry about. Let's take a look at the standalone game here. Everybody knows the matchup. Boston College going up against Florida State. Florida State, I think they were ranked 10th overall coming into the season. They were ranked 10th in the preseason. Clearly, that was a mistake by everybody who's supposed to know stuff about college football, because what happened in Dublin last week in week 0 was a tragedy for the Seminoles. It's not that they lost, it's that they lost by getting absolutely bullied by Georgia Tech, who's not supposed to be a great team this season, who wasn't a great team last season, and a team who was supposed to get bulldozed over by the bigger front of Florida State on both sides of the ball. Now, there is a stat out there. I'm not entirely sure where it went because I can't find it anywhere, but I was listening to week 0 podcast about what everybody thought about what teams this season. I remember listening to one of the podcasts that said teams to play in week 0, they do not cover 70% of the time going up against their next opponent because the opponent has film on them, and I believe the number was 70%. It could have been like 65 or 68, but I'm almost positive they said 70%. Again, I'm going to have to fact check myself, because if that's the case, an extreme advantage here for Boston College. But I got into the headspace about 11:30 last night trying to figure out what I was going to do for this game, and I kept thinking of the revenge spot here for Florida State. They got embarrassed in week 0. They were talked about for an entire week. Now they get that chance to go out here at their home field against Boston College, who they should destroy. The only problem is that I can't get that second half out of my brain that we watched against Georgia Tech. Boston College might not be the best program in football, but they do have a dual threat quarterback in Thomas Castellanos, and I believe he's going to make life incredibly hard for Florida State. I don't think Boston College is going to be able to win this game just because the Florida State loss. If they lose back-to-back games here as a double-digit favorite, things might burn for that program. But I do think Boston College has enough weapons on the outside, has a good enough running back, has the quarterback that they need in this game to make this thing close. This team did have a winning record last season, 7 wins, 6 losses. They lost their head coach, but they brought in Bill O'Brien, the former NFL coach. I think Boston College is going to be able to score some points in this game. Florida State, they can't hold them under 20 points. They can't cover 17. So we have DJ in this game. He's going to be at quarterback for Florida State. He was horrible against Georgia Tech. Last season, Boston College, they gave Florida State hell. They only won that, or Florida State only won that game by 2, 31-29. I think Bill O'Brien is going to watch that tape that Georgia Tech put out to beat Florida State, and they're going to try to mimic the exact gameplay that Georgia Tech had. There's always that possibility that Florida State puts that game behind them. They flex their muscles in this one. Maybe that game is just a fluke for them. But after watching that game, I don't think there's any way that you can lay the points here. I'm going to take Boston College as the play. 23-21 final score. I think it's going to be a close game. For the player prop today, we are going to be looking at Florida State, because I do think if they were to do anything right in this game, it's going to establish the running game. They're going to try to prove that they are much bigger up front and better up front than a lot of these teams this season. They are going up against Boston College, who last season gave up a ton of rushing yards, 181.4 yards on the ground. Obviously not the same team from last year. They do have a few returning starters on the defensive side. Bill O'Brien is also an offensive-minded coach, so I'm not entirely sure how good the BC defense is going to be this year. I do think the most likely outcome of this game is that Florida State runs the ball between 25 and 30 times, and Roydell Williams was the lead back last game with 12 rushing attempts, 38 yards. He had a touchdown as well. He was decent in the passing game. I think he had above 30 yards as well in the passing game. Georgia Tech was the way more physical team in week 0, but I think Florida State will be the more physical team in this game, and they should get the ground game working very early. I'm going to take his over 65.5 rushing yards. Florida State, they're going to try to flex their muscles, going to try to control the line of scrimmage. I'm taking the lead back here, over 65.5 rushing yards as the play. Let's go over to the graphic. We are going to take BC plus 17. Dual threat quarterback. Florida State last week had a lot of problems. I'm going to take the plus 17 points. Florida State should not be laying that many points. And then Roydell Williams, over 65.5 rushing yards as the player prop. Guys, that's going to do it for the NCAA football plays and props for Monday, September 2nd slate of games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please share your like on this video and subscribe to the channel below. See you guys next video, and thanks for watching.